Alright, this is Chef Nathan Bates back here, Tavern on Cruise. Today we're going to be cooking a brined pork chop, molasses and spices, along with a apple butter and bourbon glaze, braised collard greens with bacon, a truffle macaroni and cheese, and that's going to be the meal for today. Alright? We'll start with our pork chop brine. Right here we have a pork chop in brine already. Some water. The purpose of brining the meat itself is it's going to create a more tender, more juicier cut of meat once we grill it on the grill. So we're going to add some salt, sugar, spices to the water, and we recommend at least a 24-hour marinade on the brine. Start with some spices, peppercorns, allspice, salt and sugar, equal parts, cumin seed, a little bit of molasses, and a touch of soy sauce. And then we just add our meat right to the brine. And you can do this with, I do it with mostly light proteins like chicken and pork, sometimes ribs, shoulder meat from the pork as well. Just adds a good amount of flavor and keeps it from drying out while it's cooking. So when the pork chop is done grilling, we're going to add some of our items here in a pan and glaze it a little bit. And we have apple butter that we make here in house, a bourbon, kind of a barbecue sauce, so it's a bourbon brown sugar glaze, and a little bit of butter. Pork chop. Once we get nice grill marks on here, we're going to go in the oven for about 10 minutes. Next we're going to make our white truffle macaroni and cheese. Start with our garlic and our shallots. And we're going to deglaze with white wine and heavy cream. And then I have some fontina and Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of topper of breadcrumb and Parmesan cheese. I'm going to use a little bit of white truffle oil in there. We're waiting for our cream to reduce to a nice cream sauce consistency, and then we're going to whisk in our cheese right at the end. Cook it too much and it becomes gritty. Top it with a little bit of breadcrumb and Parmesan, have a little crunch on top, let it brown up in the oven for about right in time with our pork chop. Alright, then I'm going to turn it over to Sous Chef Chris for some braised collard greens with bacon.
Hey guys, Chris back here at Tavern on Cruise. I'm going to walk you through our braised greens right now. I should probably walk through our ingredients first. Oil, bacon, shallot, garlic, a mixture of half red wine vinegar and half white wine, and some braising greens. So first thing, oil, bacon. I want my bacon to render out quite a bit before I add my onion and shallot to it. Most people will add your onion and garlic right after you add your bacon, then you'll end up with a burned, bitter, nasty flavor. So let this render out for a second. And I'm not going to cook this 100% through. The reason for that is after I add my greens and my deglazing liquid, that's going to continue to cook down. Braised greens. So I don't want that fully cooked. I'll wind up with burn. Sweat that out until it's nice and fragrant. Let it sit there and simmer for a while. see, most of my deglazing liquid simmered off, evaporated out. That's about right where I want it. Pass it on back over to Nate.
We're gonna glaze our pork chop here with pop it back in the oven just for a minute, just to let it stick to the pork. I'm going to use the greens as a base for the pork chop to sit on, give it a little more height.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've decided I'm not going to bore you with wine stuff too often, unless I come up with something really cool. And one of the wines that we have paired to Friday's pork chop is pretty remarkable. And what makes it remarkable is that it's wine made unlike any sort of wine in America, and most of you have never heard of it. And in my mind, it's one of the greatest bang for the buck wines you can buy here in the States. It's called a Ripasso. And there are three kinds of Valpolicella made in the Veneto in Italy, which is the area most devastated by this virus. So I'm very happy to be buying from them. Valpolicella comes in three different levels. The first is their normal table wine, which anybody would have any night of the week if you lived in the region. The fanciest of the Valpolicella endeavors is something called Amarone. And Amarone is when they take the Valpolicella grapes. There's a bunch of different varietals that go into these, but they take them and they dry them on raisin boards for anywhere between 3 weeks and 2.5 months. And they let a huge amount of this moisture in the grapes basically evaporate. So when it comes time to press them, they're super concentrated. And it makes the wine very expensive because raisins don't give off as much juice as normal grapes do. That high, concentrated, dense, rich Amarone wine is amazing. But it's almost unaffordable for most people. Ripasso is the baby Amarone, and it's affordable. And what they do is they take their normal Valpolicella, and when they get done making their Amarone, they repress or repass, hence the name Ripasso, repass. They repass the Valpolicella through these Amarone pressings and raisins and whatever, and it gives it this rich, dense, cool thing for about 20% of the price of a real Amarone. And so if you're into kind of bigger wines and you want something kind of cool with your pork chop, I would say try your first Ripasso. You'll thank me in the morning.